Good afternoon, everyone. This afternoon, I will be going to give lecture on the topic enhancing sugarcane productivity using adaptable variety in specific location and fertilization scheme. Actually, this is related to the topic that was discussed last November 4, the agronomic productivity of sugarcane. So in this topic, I will be focusing on the adaptable variety as well as in a specific location and the fertilizer scheme that will be used in that location. So to start with, I'm going to go back to the characteristic of sugarcane first. What is sugarcane? So we know that sugarcane is a perennial plant that belongs to the Poaceae family or the grass family. It is considered as the world's largest crop by production quantity with 1.8 billion ton that was produced in 2017, of which Brazil accounts for the 40% of the world total production. This is according to the global sugarcane production in 2018. It is a native to the warm temperate to tropical regions of Asia, Southeast Asia, and New Guinea. For the climatic requirement, sugarcane have its optimum mean temperature best for sugarcane growth, which is 26 to 32 degrees centigrade. Then for optimum temperature for germination of stem cuttings is 32 degrees to 38 degrees centigrade. This crop could also withstand higher temperature up to 40 to 40 degrees centigrade, especially during summer. This is because the crop is a sapor plant. However, the growth will be arrested if is subjected to higher temperature higher than 50 degrees centigrade. Similar growth is also slowed down, and as well as the tillering will be reduced when subjected to or exposed to temperature lower than 20 degrees centigrade. For the climatic requirement, additional climatic requirement, sugarcane respond to long period of sunlight, that is 12 to 14 hours. It has a high humidity that range from 85 to 90%. This favors the rapid cane elongation during the main growth of this plant. The rainfall requirement or moisture is 11,000 to 15,000 millimeter with a minimum of 600 millimeter. For the soil requirement, the sugarcane plant can grow best or thrive best in a well-drained loamy soil. So, however, it could grow in any type of soil, but it is best grown in a well-drained loamy soil. For example, when this crop is grown in light soil, so you need to provide enough water to sustain the growth and development of the crop. When it is also planted under heavy soils, then you have to provide proper drainage system. For fertilizer requirements, according to the SARAi soil testing laboratories, the general requirement will be 200, 600, 400 kilogram per hectare of N, P, and K. So, the source of this fertilizer material could either be inorganic or organic type. Usually, the fertilizer is generally applied as solid, but it could also be applied as fodder. So, in choosing sugarcane varieties that will be used in your farm, there are some criteria. So, one of these is the variety should be a fast-growing variety with high tillering capacity. This is in order to shorten the critical period of computation. So, kung mabilis siyang mag-close up, then mas-shorten ang computation for wheat particularly. So we have an example of field 6607 that requires only 3 months to complete its canopy formation. But we have also a variety example of a variety which is field 56226 that takes 4 months to close its leaf canopy. So you have to be very careful on this late close up of leaf canopy for weed computation. So if you have a lot of workers, then it's all right because you can have early weeding to be done. Farmer sugarcane varieties that are selected by farmers will be based on the try to select those varieties that have high PSTC, meaning pickle sugar per ton cane. You have longer ratoning ability, at most 4 to 10 years. 10 years, mataas na yan. Strong and erect stalk, no? To prevent lodging resistant, easy to harvest, and so ito po ang mga usual characteristics na hinahanap ng ating mga farmers or sugarcane growers. So in this aspect, I will be showing some of the recommended sugarcane varieties from the SARAi and Pilsurin. Okay. Although, if you want to know more of the sugarcane variety, recommended sugarcane varieties, you can go to the website of sra.gov.ph bar sugarcane varieties. Okay. So we have here Field 99-1793. This is one of our experimental variety in our study that we have conducted. So we have here the characteristics of Field 99-1793. The growth habit, it is a good germinator, so mabilis siyang tumubo, and it has erect to recumbent type of growth habit. No flowering observed, so hindi ito namumulaklak pagdating ng Disyembre or short day period. For the leaf characteristics, ang magandang ano dito is it is a self-detrushing. So hindi ka na nangingayan ng mga maraming taong mag-alis ng mga trash or dead leaves. For the stalk characteristics, it has a medium size, waxy, cylindrical, dark yellowish purple stalks with forky cracks, patches. So it has a round eye bud with wings. Ang yield characteristics, which yun ang inahanap natin, it has a medium to high sucrose with 2.15 lgk ton cane and above, or it has a high tonnage 100 to ton cane per hectare and above. For the number of millable stalks, we have 2.37 stalks per stall at harvest. Average yield based on the 6 locations that the evaluated, they come up with the average of 184 lkg per ton cane or 143.67 ton cane per hectare. For the yield potential, so aabot ito ng 2.12 lkg ton cane or 170.69 ton cane per hectare. And it is also very resistant to smut, downy mildew, and leaf scorch and susceptible. However, it is susceptible to yellow smut. So, maganda ito sa place ng best in Sunidco, Mabinay, and Pasig Mill districts. So, aabot ito or it can out-yield Field 8013 and Field 8477, and it also obtained the highest average LKG per hectare and ton cane per hectare in 6 locations. The next variety that we are going to talk is or introduce is the 94 Pill 940913. So it has an erect to recumbent growth habit. Flowering is sparse. For the leaf, it is semi-self-thrashing. It does not have any auricle. Then for the stalk, medium ang size. It has a barrel shape with greenish brown stalk with waxy with bud grooves and corky patches. For yield characteristics, it has a high sucrose, which amounted to 2.15 lkg ton cane and above. It has also high tonnage ton cane of 100 tc per hectare and above. Ang average stock niya is 2.48. Average yield for 7 location, it reaches to 2.18 lkg per tc or 115.74 tc per hectare. For the potential yield, it is 2.45 lkg ton per hectare. Not ton per hectare, lkg per ton cane, and 141.16 ton cane per hectare. In terms of disease rating, it is very highly resistant to downy mildew, highly resistant to smoth, intermediate resistant to yellow spot, and intermediate average to leaf scorch. For other characteristics, it performed best in Maaw or Sumco and Lopez Mill district. For the next variety is we have Phil 92-0577. Again, it has an erect to recumbent fast grower. No flowering was observed. Brood leaves. Then it's a semi-self-thrashing. Yellowish ang stalk with large. It could reach as 3.03 centimeter. Number of stalks is 2.49. Average yield based on 7 location, it could reach up to 1.6 lkg per tc or 129.44 ton cane per hectare. For potential yield, it has 2.05 lkg per ton cane or 179.13 ton cane per hectare to 368.56 lkg per hectare. In terms of disease rating, resistant to smut, downy mildew, leaf scorch, moderate to yellow spot. Best performance of this variety, both in cane and sugar yield, was observed in La Carlota Mill District. So it is more adaptable in La Carlota. Another example of recommended sugarcane varieties here in the Philippines is Phil 92-0051. Again, it is an erect type of variety, fast grower, no flowering that were observed. It is a semi-self-thrashing without trichomes. So hindi makati. Stalk is yellowish-green internode, cylindrical, waxy, with bud groove, oval eye bud. Stalks are medium size, 2.67 centimeters. So average stalks is 3.06. Average yield based on 7 location reached up to 1.75 lkg per ton cane and 121.31 ton cane per hectare. For the potential yield, it could reach as high as 1.88 lkg ton cane or 168.59 ton cane per hectare or 293.01 lkg per hectare. In terms of disease rating, this is resistant to smoth, downy mildew, yellow spot, and leaf scorch. So this variety performed best at or Somco Mel district, which could yield as high as 168.59 ton cane per hectare. I think this will be our last example of recommended sugarcane varieties here in the Philippines, which is the 93-1601. It has a growth habit of erect and fast grower, sparse to non-flowering. It is also moderately trichomed and semi-self-thrashing. Stalk is yellowish-green internode, cylindrical waxy with shallow bud groove. Whether markings present, buds oval medium, and thick stalk. Average stalk is 4. Reaction to disease, resistance to smut and downy mildew. Maturity is 12 months. Then potential yield could reach as much as 2.34 lkg per ton cane or 169.13 ton cane per hectare. Okay, so those are some of the example of the recommended sugarcane varieties that could be grown here in the Philippines. However, as I've said, you could, if you want to know more of these varieties that were released, you can go to the website of SARAi. Now we go to the production status of this crop. Uh, we have here from 2011 up to 2019. So from this graph, we could say that production peaks or highest production of sugarcane in the Philippines is during 2017. Then it gradually, there is a reduction in 2018, but the lowest was observed in 2019. So it only produces 20.17 million metric tons. This is equivalent to 35 billion in terms of Philippine peso. So, we try to reduce. Wala pang pandemic dito no 2019. So, to production status for this year, during the second quarter, April to June 2020, we have already here 5.22 million metric tons. This value indicates an upsurge of 100.3% from 2.61 million metric tons output in the same period of 2019. So, out of this production, 97.7% of the total sugarcane is converted to centrifugal sugar. The remaining 2.3% comprised the share of sugarcane for ethanol, panocha, mascobado, chewing, and basi or vinegar. So, from among the crop that is source for renewable biofuel producing crops, sugarcane is the most promising. In terms of top producer area in the Philippines, it is still Western Visayas, where Negros and Panay Island are located, that were considered as the top producer of sugarcane with 2.82 million metric tons or 53.6% share to the total sugarcane production. Northern Mindanao and Central Visayas followed with respective shares of 18.3 and 13.1%. Now we go local in Bukidnon. So in Bukidnon, land devoted to sugarcane dominates the land in terms of physical distribution of agricultural areas. This is followed by corn lands, pineapple, and irrigated rice. This is according to Simeon 2019. Bukidnon also accounts for the 72% of the overall sugar area and 75% of the sugar production in Mindanao. Bukidnon, in terms of crop area harvested, sugarcane ranks third next to corn and palay. The province also have the two milling companies. We have the Bukidnon Sugar Milling Company and the or popularly known as Bosco and Crystal Sugar Company. So this Bukidnon Sugar Milling District covers 14 municipalities with 11,395 sugarcane farmers. Now, what causes sugarcane productivity? So we know that sugarcane is the major Philippine crop. I think it's one of the dollar earner, no? Dollar earner ba? Maybe it's coconut and banana. But still, sugarcane brings dollar to our economy. So it also accounted for the second biggest farm area under food crops. Despite the large plantation area occupied by sugarcane, there is a decreasing trend of production of sugarcane in the past few years, both in quantity and quality. You have seen that one in the previous slides that I have shown you. So, ano kaya ang dahilan? Why is there uh, a decreasing trend that is observed? Paano? How are we going to increase sugarcane productivity? So, we have here that it could be increased if we are going to adapt the proven good management practices for sugarcane cultivation, and this include adequate land preparation, timing of planting, balanced fertilizer application, and planting of location adapted varieties or other good agronomic practice. So, bakit ganon? Okay, so dapat alam natin kung ano ba yung mga factors that may affect also sugarcane productivity. So, isa na doon is ang variety used. Okay, so sa variety, kailangan nating kumuha ng variety, sugarcane variety that is adapted to the area. No? So I have mentioned some of these characteristics already from the example of the variety that I have shown you in the previous slides. So isa na doon is high yielding, okay, resistant to pests and diseases, as well as responsive to fertilization and other cultural management practices. So ganun yung mga characteristic ng variety mo. You also have to consider the climatic condition of the area where you are going to grow your sugarcane. So you have to know the rainfall, the temperature, as well as the relative humidity. In terms of pests and diseases also, what is the prevalent disease or pest in the locality so that you could be able to choose variety that is resistant or tolerant to that specific pest and disease. Then we have nutrient factor, which is our second concern in this lecture. And the last is the human factor. For the human factor, this includes the capability of the farmer to grow sugarcane. So, nangangailangan siya dito ng capability or financial support to grow, to go to venture into sugarcane productivity, or another one is labor available. No? So these are some of the human factors. So we are going to focus on the two factors affecting sugarcane productivity, as I've said, the variety that will be used and the nutrient factor that will be the fertilizer scheme that we are going to use to apply to this specific variety. So in terms of nutrient factor, we know for a fact that our crop needs macro element in the form of nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium in kilograms per hectare. So we have to have a very good fertilizer practices. We need to consider variety that we are going to use, because some variety are sensitive to especially nitrogen fertilization. Their maturity could be prolonged when they will be applied with excessive nitrogen, or when nitrogen is applied late in the growing stages of this crop. So according to the SARAi in 2026, these are some of the guidelines in fertilizer usage. The first is you have to know the nutrient requirements of sugarcane. Okay, so how are you going to do this one? You have to subject your area to soil analysis. But then, kung hindi kayo nakapag-ano ng soil analysis, mayroong optimum level of recommendation na ginawa ang SRA, SRA Soil Testing Lab. They have a general recommendation of 200, 600, 400 kilogram per hectare of NPK. So, yun ang gagamitin nyo kung hindi pa na-analyze ang lupa nyo. Second guideline is you have to know the amount of fertilizer to apply. So, in this case, you have to know how much of the NPK you are going to apply to your area. So farmers should be able to compute and calibrate the fertilizer needs of his sugarcane plantation. So based again on the soil analysis or plant tissue analysis. The third is you need to choose the right kind of fertilizer to apply. And this fertilizer material that you are going to use is based upon the nutrient content of the fertilizer materials, the nutrient needs of the soil, and the comparative cost of the fertilizer. Okay. In this case, you can make your own fertilizer combination in such a way that you can save money in that combination of fertilizer. Then, this last but not the least is the proper placement and timing of application. So for you to be able to maximize the efficiency or to get the maximum efficiency, you need to place the fertilizer in the root zone of the plant, and the soil should have an adequate soil moisture. Okay, take this opportunity to express my acknowledgement to the whole SARAi team led by UPLB with Dr. Maria Victoria Espaldon as our program leader, to the DOST Picard, to the organizer of SARAi E-skwela Project 3.3, and to all who religiously attended SARAi E-skwela every day. Not every day, every Wednesday. So thank you for listening and thank you for patronizing SARAi project. Good afternoon once again.